This next poem is not a love poem, but it is inspired by a book that I read by a Burkinabe shaman called Malidoma Patrice Some. He works in the US now. You can study with him and do rituals for spiritual development. His autobiography called I'll read it to you. Of Water and Spirit deals with how he was kidnapped by the missionaries, and he was in the missionary school from age 5 until 18. And this was not in 1850, this was in 1950. So it was very shocking for me to read that. More of the book is devoted to his spiritual quest, but in this poem I'm contemplating that history of where you could just be kidnapped from your family. Your family doesn't say, sure, take him to school. You're just taken and you're forced to speak French, which is not the language that you grew up with your family. And you are taught Christian values, right? And you're given a new name, so your native name is stripped from you and you're given a French name. So in this poem, you're going to hear some Burkinabe names, and those names are Narawende, Awa, and Yala. Those are Burkinabe first names, and in the poem I say the meanings of those names. Also the tree, the baobab, is mentioned. This is a strong tree in Africa. It has a connotation of being grounded with family, location. It's not a pretty tree. It doesn't have a lot of flowers or anything, but it has a very deep root structure. And it does give fruit. So this is called Bleached History. And the idea is of the French bleaching African culture. So this is also in 4 stanzas.
Pause for a minute.
And another thing to tell you is that I mentioned the antelope skull here. That you can think of when you hear that line, how in the old days, students who misbehaved had to wear the dunce cap. So in this tradition, they would make you wear the antelope skull if you were speaking your native language in school instead of French. So it would be a way to shame students. So bleached history. 1. White through fire circles, mud houses, lingering handshakes, white through indigo, slick goat's necks, and the dolo-filled calabash. 2. A congregation so large, piled high up to the sky, for only one step to his throne, to finally come home. 3. Missionaries pleaded, cajoled, for their congregation to reach that throne. They even stole boys to enroll and control, promising parents future rewards. Their heads were shaved and their mother tongues shamed, with the antelope skull worn at least once by all. Cultural carving beyond bones, branding Jean, Marc, Antoine, over Narawende's wings to God, on top Awa's whisper to the river, and Yale's hope risen. 4. The red soil with its orange puddles held this pain, so full from what the whites call religious school. They tried to stitch boys against the hum of their ancestors in the wind, and with white cloth, bread and wine, wined their minds for Christendom and the French curriculum. But whispers of songs sung in the field, lingering handshakes, compounds with family and thatched roofs, commanded feet home through thorned bush, stealthily under the moon, back close to mother's womb, from where solid like the baobab they did first bloom.